Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Icons 2022. We're in Elimination Day, our first one of the day here, and we're into series number 3. And it is going to be a big one here. Europe versus Brazil. Vivo Kid versus RIX. And Dion here with Riku and TJ. This is going to be a big one as we take a look at the bracket. The winner of this still has to go up against T1. Very unorthodox team so far in terms of picks, but really, these two squads have had a unique journey here so far, TJ.
Yeah, I think RIX was the big standout. We didn't have high expectations for them against T1, and they made that series very close. Lost it 2-0, but it was a close 2-0, as all the European fans have been telling me on Twitter. Here's a look back at that. And then on the other side, we had J-Team, who we had lower expectations out of. Coming in, we were like, okay, they're the 5th place team out of China. How good can they be really? 5th place.
Surprise!
Turns out,
boom,
really good. Vivo Kid go down here very quickly. So, yes, we have the question coming into this of just flat, which of these two teams are better? I think it also reflects very interestingly on those two series on T1, who are still waiting, and whoever will get a crack at them.
Riku?
Yeah, for me, right, when we look at this series, I feel like RIX still has to treat this series against Vivo Kid as if they're still fighting T1. Because Vivo Kid has amazing team fight, right? And T1 had a similar fashion where towards the late game, that's where they shine a lot. So I feel like RIX, if they get the early lead, they got to hammer it down to win this one.
How are they going to do that? What player is the one that's going to stand out to you?
Oh my god, okay, for me, it has to be Doom, right? I feel like for RIX, Doom enables the early game skirmish, and especially on champions that is able to move around like early. At the top of my head, Lee Sin is going to be very important in this series.
Yeah, I would also say it's not even so much about specific players for RIX as what they did to T1, which was slowing down the game and avoiding the team fights. And if they can do that, if they can avoid the team fights that Vivo Kid bring, then it doesn't matter how good they are.
Well, if there's going to be one player that stands out on the side of Vivo Kid, it's going to be Mena. Mena, let's take a look at the stats from their last series. Mena needs to be the one that gets things going here.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. Because I feel like when we look back at his Wild Tour performance, especially on a Rakan, a champion that is able to set up for the team, for these team fights around the Dragon, around the Rift Herald. Again, Mena, the way that he uses these champions is very sneaky. He sets up these flanks, he sets up these positions where a lot of these teams will not expect to. But of course, these teams have already witnessed Mena before, so a lot of vision has been, conducted around these objective fights just to make sure that he doesn't get a chance to do that anymore.
Yeah, again, vision being a huge part of what seems to be the most successful teams being done over and over again. Not just placing vision early, but then removing vision from their opponents where they have to face check and get into those types of positions where it is so hard to get to the objective here, TJ.
Yeah, and I think that was a huge part of why in that weird game against T1, where T1 weren't taking a lot of control, had kind of a poor vision game, we got to see RIX get those wins and make that game interesting. If I had a criticism for RIX, though, it would be their team fights looked kind of weak regionally, and then they come here and they get that opportunity versus T1, and they can't close it. It needs to look better than that today, because Vivo Kid are going to fight them for every objective, starting at the very beginning of the game, do everything T1 didn't do, and they're going to have to earn every inch.
And remember, the loser of this one goes home, kind of like what's happening here with Stamina from the previous series. And before we say goodbye to them, Kangas is standing by with top laner with Death.
And I'm here with Death from Stamina from the WOL. First of all, it's rough that you're out of Icons, but congratulations on the performance. The man who is on the Nexus while the team was going for the pentakill. And I think that speaks a lot about you as a person. What I've learned is that you're very driven. You always are grinding at the game. So my first question is, where does that competitive drive come from? Why are you so driven at Wild Rift?
¿Sí? Tú responde, ¿qué te mueve a hacer grind? O sea, ¿por qué te gusta tanto estar todo el día en el juego?
Bueno, en lo personal, lo que más me gusta de estar grindeando sería pues, principalmente el hecho de mejorar y superarme a mí mismo, el de demostrar cada vez que puedo ser mejor de lo que soy ahora.
Yeah, he's telling us that he's like to be a better player, to be grinding. He loves it because he knows all that stuff that they can do how to push the champion limits.
Yeah, I mean, you have to put in the time to do that. And you also put in the time at university. As I heard that during the WL Championships, you were actually doing your university finals at the same time. So what was that like, going through big real-life situations while also qualifying for Icons?
Digo, todos sabemos que estuviste haciendo tus exámenes de la universidad cuando estábamos aquí en el Icon. Y que se siente, ¿cuál es la diferencia y cómo qué sientes al mismo tiempo de estar haciendo cosas reales en la vida y estar aquí jugando?
Pues son situaciones que yo a final de cuentas creo que son necesarias en la vida. Tienes que estar constantemente enfrentándote a diferentes tipos de situaciones estresantes, divertidas y que te vayan agradando. En lo personal, por ejemplo, es algo que me agrada. En lo personal, tanto la escuela como los videojuegos, el competir.
Yeah, he's telling us that he loves to be challenged all day life, like in real life and in the video games. He grows so much to do the homework since he is here in Singapore playing. So he's like he loves the big challenge.
Sounds like a challenge. But I actually have a challenge for you. Because I know that you are very studious, you have good grades at university, so we're actually going to put you on the spot here. And I have a pop quiz for you from the latest patch notes. So you played 3 champions in this best of 3 finals. First up, Camille. Her first ability, damage ratio was nerfed on patch 2.2a. It was 100%. What is it now at level 1?
Nos van a poner a prueba. ¿Sabes la respuesta de cuánto fue nerfeada la primera habilidad de Camille? Que estaba al 100% y ahora en cuánto está, ahora que está en el 2.0.
Si no me equivoco, el early game es como 60%, pero la verdad no estoy seguro.
He's not sure, but he's 60%.
40%.
40%.
40%. Yeah. all right. One wrong. Let's see the next one. Akali's first ability's base damage increased by how much on patch 2.2?
¿Sabemos cuánto se incrementó la primera habilidad de Akali?
No lo recuerdo.
It was 5. It was 5. You got one more.
Última.
Fiora's base health on patch 2.2b increased from 570 to what?
La vida de Fiora. ¿Sabes en cuánto se incrementó?
50 puntos de vida.
Sí, 50 points of life.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. All right, there we go. 1 out of 3, not too bad. Thank you so much. And Digon, back to you on the desk.
Thank you very much, Kangas, and thank you to Stamina Esports is with death for their final goodbye. All right, now time for this series. The players are ready, and we've got 2 new casters waiting to bring you the action. It's Rafa and Omo. Gents, take it away.
You got the thing, Omo?
I'm ready to go. Bum, 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 bada boom, bada boom.
Welcome to Twitch chat. You are listening to the dual set tones of Rafa and Omo here on twitch.tv/WildRift Esports here. We call ourselves Robo, a new duo and a new group. How's my impersonation of TJ right there?
Better than his. You're much cooler.
What?
He doesn't have the cool factor, Rafa. That's the difference. He does the deadpan very well.
Oh.
But he lacks the cool.
I feel bad now. I didn't want it to be a slight jab and roast at TJ.
Wasn't even slight.
Oh, almost just leaning into it. But we're getting into the draft phase between RIX and Vivo Keed. This is going into this series. You know, we had some preparations thinking that RIX could have potentially been the last European seed in the play-in stage, but earlier today, Furious Gaming was taken down by Game Lord, so now RIX have a chance to stay alive alongside their EU brethren, whereas Vivo Keed, they also have the chance to stay alive alongside Liberty, who is waiting for the winner of Sentinels and Kwangdong Freeze.
Yeah, frankly, Liberty having the best performance of all the Western teams so far is something we didn't really expect. But now a lot of pressure going to be on RIX as well. You can be sure the EU teams are going to be scrimming each other. And after Game Lord's amazing performance earlier today, the pressure is going to be on RIX now.
There's a couple things that we wanted to point out. In their last series against T1, RIX had some very strong early game maneuvers, snowballing random with 7 on the Lee Sin. However, we didn't see that snowball being leveraged as fast as we wanted it to. And I remember catching up with RIX after some of the games during the middle of the week and talking to them. They just, acknowledged, hey, we know that we had a solid game plan in the early parts of the game. We got a little excited, We got a little out of control, and we need to remember to, hey, during these times, we got to calm down, and we got to make sure that we are following through our game plan.
Yeah, and frankly, RIX, those 2 games were so winnable as well. It comes down to what did you take away from that series against T1? And if you look at the draft playing out right now, you have some similarities, but you also have some differences, Rafa.
Oh, but we just blazed through the entire first round of the draft. Both Vivo Kid and RIX know exactly what they want to play here, and now we have to take some time to really look at what the core of the compositions have been drafted.
Yeah, so far on the side of RIX, you know what they're going to be playing around. It's going to be random. It's going to be 7. Snitch is going to be trying to enable them, and very likely you will also see Mages, Varus, something along those lines come out in the Dragon Lane to really just try to snowball random at 7. These are your key win conditions. On the side of Vivo Kid, Lee Sin for the early game, Camille for the late.
I feel like Vivo Kid are going for something similar to what RIX were looking to do in their series with T1. Use the Lee Sin as that early game bridge, snowball the Camille, because we know that in some of the games that we have already seen, most notably, I think Jong on the T1 side with that Camille being able to turn out some huge numbers. Odysseus, the Baron laner for Vivo Kid, could look to do something similar.
Yeah, and Odysseus, together with Lot, have a lot of potential here to shut down random. Camille functions as a counterpick to Jace in the mid game, in the late game, because it's so easy to get on top with him. Couple that with a Lee Sin, and you have the potential to just shut down random in the side lane, which, like you said, was something that T1 was doing against RIX.
Right now, RIX are looking to round out their composition with a support and either a marksman in the Dragon Lane or some type of AP carry. Vivo Kid already aware of 2 of those things, taking away both the Set and the Lux, whereas RIX, Lux would have been solid here, and now a Thresh for Mena. We've already seen some of the best Thresh gameplay from around the world, both from Liberty's Manafritze and from Bury-Rem's What the Jess.
Yeah, and this Thresh for Mena is going to give him a lot of potential to work in tandem with Lot as well. These 2 need to be on the map, getting tempo, making plays, and shutting down RIX.
RIX now have to find an answer here. A lot of support picks have been taken off the table. No Rakan, no Galio. Thresh already taken by Mena. Also Gragas and Set. No support yet, but a solid pick in the Dragon Lane for Doom.
Yeah, and also this does 2 things, right? Varus in isolation, it's a great pick. It's a lot of setup for the team comp. It's double poke together with Jace, but he also denied the possibility of the Cocky going mid for Vivo Kid and picking up a Varus trash Dragon Lane. That could be very dominant, very scary to deal with. This Braum pick, I'm not the biggest fan of, but it does give Rick some sort of safety here, I guess.
Yeah, talking with Riku yesterday.
Man.
Twisted Fate for Katrina. So we have seen this before, and in their series against J-Team, Katrina was looking to make proactive plays with the Twisted Fate. It didn't work as well as they had hoped. The agency was not timed well, and J-Team had just done such an incredible job of just really strangleholding the members of Vivo Kid that prevented them from getting out of hand. But in theory, over in the Wild Tour, we have seen so many times Vivo Kid for Katrina on this Twisted Fate. If he's able to sync up with the Lee Sin, then you are playing to the Baron side of the map. You are getting Odysseus snowballed out of control.
And you know Mena is going to be roaming there as well. And once you get to the mid game, once you get to the late game, you won't need Lee Sin, you won't need Trash, TF, Hextech Ultimatum. That combo is enough to take down anyone, especially a Jace.
Big thing here for RIX on the opposite side. You have this Jace, who's going to be a lot stronger of a laner in the early stages of the game against Odysseus, but you don't have as much safety from your jungler because this Kha'Zix, compared to a Lee Sin, better at counter ganking, but in terms of raw damage and early strength, you need to wait for a little bit. You spike incredibly hard at level 5, not at levels 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, both of these team comps have slightly different agendas here. On the side of RIX, you see them wanting to get poke, you see them wanting to get a lead, snowball that lead, but that is high pressure. You can't mess up, especially in an elimination game, because once you do, I do expect Keystars to just take over their composition. Such great side laning, such great catch potential, much easier to play out.
And I know the desk had already pointed out, one of the big eyes here is on Mena, the support for Vivo Kid, but it's also going to be on Clue to see if he can match the tempo of the Brazilian support as we head into game 1 of this series.
Right, it's gonna be a very standard start for both of these teams, but I'm expecting RIX to have to make some plays in the early stages. It's gonna be difficult against a Lee Sin. It's gonna be difficult against a Twisted Fate, but they need to get a snowball going, Rafa.
Well, that's not happening for another minute, you know.
Yeah, we're chilling for now.
Yeah, we are piss chilling here on the Rift.
we are back to the podcast, we are back to the radio station, but the lane that we should be watching out for right now, it's gonna be Baron lane, right? We put a lot of pressure on both Random, and all we say is the saying that they have to carry their teams with the champions that they've been drafted, with the comms that have been drafted. A lot of pressure is going to be on that.
And it comes down to the supporting cast for both of these teams as
Yes.
well. How well can Vivo Kid use the tools of Katrina, Lord, and Mena to snowball this Camille? But on the same token, how can RIX use things like Snitch, things like Flute? While Braum doesn't have as much playmaking ability, he's great at defensive maneuvers.
Yes.
You can block a lot of poke damage. If Clue is able to match the roams on Mena, he might not be able to go for a gank per se that is going to put Odysseus out of commission, but he can at least neutralize any maneuvers.
Yeah, that's the name of the game here, right? It's counter-ganking, it's neutralizing. You're playing it a bit slow here. Snitch don't want to commit to that one because they kind of knew that Lord might be waiting there as well. Mena, 1 minute 30 seconds in, already roaming, but he's on a ward.
He's done the homework, but as you said, the ward spots him out. But I love this, that Mena is super aggressive already in the game. And one thing, even though this isn't the same team, I did get a chance to catch up with Manda Fritz, the support for Liberty. One of the things that he was talking a lot about for Brazil as a region is how much the supports have learned from some of the Eastern teams, especially the Chinese teams, how aggressive and how fast they move around. And they said, yeah, you know, the first couple games we've had on the stage as a region have not been the best, but we have learned so much. And we have similar mechanical levels, and we are here to show that Brazil is a region that you do not sleep on.
Definitely not. I have Brazil pegged as the best Western region coming into Icons, and given what we've seen from Liberty, that seems like it might be the case so far. Vivo Kid, this is going to be a very intense match for them for a couple of reasons, right? It's an elimination game. We've talked about that already. But look at the top of your screens right now. WREC, number 2. WBR, number 2. A lot of pressure. This is basically an even matchup if you look at it on paper. Your second seed against our second seed. Regional pride is on the line here, Rafa.
And to think about it, Omo, these two teams come with similar stories as well.
Yeah.
RIX, so close to winning it all in their respective finals. But 2 times, the games were stolen away from them thanks to Team Queso's Andres. For Vivo Kid, they went to the full distance, the full Game 7, but it was Omega Esports that triumphed. So even though these are the number 2 seeds respectively in the region, a lot of fans from both sides could reason that these are some of the best or could have been the number 1 teams.
Here we go, Rafa.
And it's already off to the races here for Vivo Kid. Mena could look to at least burn a flash here from Doom. Looking for the
What?
You saw that, right? He was looking for the flash prediction from Doom.
He was, but my question right now is, why did Katrina pop his Destiny Gate so late? He needed to be way earlier. You start off that play with the gold card, not with anything else. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to please me, right?
Yeah,
Execution.
I had to pause for a minute, and I was like, damn, you're right. Well,
yeah, the idea was there, but you kind of slip up at the end of the day. The thing about Vivo Kid's team comp is once you get to late game, it is very simple. You pot to the lane, you Hextech ultimatum, that's basically going to be a kill on the Jace like 90% of the time. Early game's hard though. Oh no, Random.
Hey, you said a kill onto the Jace, right? Well, Vivo Kid are here to deliver. Lord trying to flash over the Dragon's Rage, not quite enough damage, but just one more auto attack will do it. First blood has been delivered courtesy of Lord.
And that's the 4-minute timer as well. That kill was a bit harder than Vivo Kid would have liked it to be to get that one. So they won't be able to pressure the turret after the play completes, but that's still going to be a first blood. That's still going to be a kill going over to Lot, who we say is so important to tempo the early game on that Lee Sin, especially since he's fallen behind on farming to 7.
Taking a moment to catch up here. We are 30 seconds away from neutral objectives spawning. Vivo Kid have secured 1 kill so far. So it's not an insurmountable lead for RIX.
They want to make it 2, Rafa.
Yes, sir. If you can get this pressure down right before the Rift Herald spawns, you can chain snowball reaction so fast that RIX are going to have to be forced to take the compensation prize. Random, potentially getting baited here. No, remember, no flash from Random, and Lord is there with the repeat gank, delivering mental damage to the top laner.
Mental damage and basically guaranteeing you a free Rift Herald right now. Luckily for RIX, well, I say luckily, but this is pre-planned from them, clearly. They've already set up at the Dragon. They're here, ready to go. They're going to take this one down right on spawn. It's just going to be an objective trade. The problem right now, though, for RIX, Random has died twice already. We look at the T1 series. Random started off with first blood. He started off being able to snowball the game. Now, in such a volatile matchup, he's behind from the get-go.
Clue is here for reinforcements, so it's at least a 2-on-3. Odysseus taking a lot of damage from Clue. Glacial Fissure knocks him up, takes about 3/4 of his HP, so Odysseus no longer has the tools necessary to be able to fight back, and the first brick was neutralized by RIX.
Neutralized by RIX. They don't get too much out of that one on the side of Vivo Keed. You funnel some gold into Odysseus, but it's also split between Lord and Mena, so he's not too happy with that one for sure. Not the best trade.
Vivo Keed. 2 kills have gone their way. Yes, they have gone to equally both Lord and Odysseus, the 2 people that you want to snowball in this early game. But for RIX, you are content with the fact that at least you are trading up on objectives and you're not falling disastrously behind in gold.
There's one silver lining here for the side of RIX, and that is even though your Jace is behind, you never really want to see your Jace behind. Once he gets accelerated there, once we get to the next objective team fight, your team comp still spikes extremely hard in the mid game. Varus, Jace, Kha'Zix, these are all champions that can have a lot of power in a dragon fight scenario. So RIX really need to play around that.
They're all building lethality too at some point. Either Muramana here for extra poke damage from Doom and Random, and of course the Duskblade for 7. Whereas the rest of Vivo Keed, these are mostly squishy champions. These are fighters. None of them are traditional tanks, so they can't soak the poke damage for too long.
Yeah, and they need to use the timing to make play.
Katrina is going to spot 2 enemies there. It is a wonderful pick from 7, catching out Lord, but what is the response from Vivo Keed? Hextech Ultimatum locks down 1 priority target. A beautiful Lantern from Mena keeps Odysseus alive, but you can only keep 1 alive because Katrina's the straggler left there standing. Doom looking for another arrow under the tower. Random getting revenge after all the harassment he's been dealing with from Vivo Keed. Striking back is RIX.
You can tell Random was angry there, flashing in for the last auto to secure the kill. He gets 2 kills back. He is kind of back in the game right now, Rafa. 1,000 gold lead over Odysseus. They could have gotten the kill on the Camille as well, but kind of botched that one at the end of the day. But they will be happy with this sequence of events. How did it all start, Rafa? Lord got caught.
Lord was trying to just do his red buff. He was vibing. He was like, okay, we're gonna make a play on the top side, and oh my god, there's a bug. I didn't bring my fly swatter here, and this bug is a little too out of control.
And you gotta keep in mind, the Bug wasn't alone. He's got a strong man behind him as well. Braum there with the shield, with the CC. That's a really good combo.
That's just cheating.
Yeah, it's kind of unfair.
Where's the honor in the 1v1, bro?
Well, even if we take a 1v1 at this point, I don't think it will be close. Law just hit level 9. Seppi's been level 10 for a while now. He's been solo farming. Look at the gold and the Kha'Zix.
We talked about it. We alluded to the fact that this Kha'Zix, yes, in the early stages part of the game, the Lee Sin has the edge, but we're already at 8 minutes into the game almost. It's been past that point.
It's gonna be a while before we see Lord gonna be able to do something of really any value right now. He needs to play around Odysseus. He needs to try to find picks in the side lane, but look at how RIX are rotating on the map. They've moved Random away from Odysseus. They know that's the point of target from Vivo Keed. And that means that they're going to be able to keep him safe, and Vivo Keed can't make any proactive plays of their own. The longer this goes on, the more Lord falls behind him fall.
Obviously, there's still plenty of game time to go.
Yeah, it's so early.
But for RIX, I think you can already tell how much of the adaptations they have taken to heart from their series against T1. RIX, when they were playing against T1, they were the ones that were pressed to get the early advantage. They were the ones that were forced to look for the early gold lead, and because T1s were the ones playing comfortably to just neutralize and stifle them, it made RIX forced into a corner where they were desperate for plays. But because RIX are playing more far back, they're confident in Random being able to catch up. They're in a better spot now.
Well, how much longer would they be in a better spot? This is going to be a huge fight, Rafa.
Gold card at the ready. Katrina can get in range, finds it on to Snitch, but he's a Singe, so he's going to be just fine. Package from Slash. Watch for the entrance here. Do they go for it?
They're too low.
Rift Herald secured by RIX. Vivo Keed. Maybe they can stop them from getting Rain entrance and priority over the mid lane. Doom with the Chain of Corruptions goes wide. Vivo Keed dodging out on a bullet.
And this is the mid-game power spike that we talked about from RIX. Their team comp is so strong when you group in a 5v5, when you control the chokeholds, you have to poke, you have the Braum to deny any engages, and Vivo Keed if they don't get a pick. Oh, that is massive. He won't be back in time for the Dragon.
Oh, the reset is so crucial for Vivo Keed. It's going to be the second Dragon of the game, potentially for RIX. They're already in position, setting up both the mid and the Dragon Wave. They have full control of the river, Vivo Keed. And I'm pretty sure the package timer ran out, so their one entryway into the pit, it's gone.
it's gone. I don't think there's any way in this for them. They have to run past a Braum. They want to just try and trade mid here. I think that's the only play, but they're too late.
RIX are playing so fast. Chain of Corruptions, this time it lands, and you see the power of Europe come in full swing. No hesitation. They immediately overwhelm Brazil. The rest of Vivo Keen looking for an answer back. Odysseus trades one back onto Clue. He's blinking on low health right now, and it is 7 alongside Random once again getting revenge for Baron Lane.
RIX cleans house here. Odysseus barely gets away with his life, but that's going to be a second charge from the Herald. That's going to be a 4-for-1 trade in favor of RIX. That's going to be a tier 2 mid Rafa, and Europe strikes hard here.
Europe fans are just absolutely popping off right now, and we go take a look back at the Coca-Cola pop-off, starting off with Doom.
It's all Doom once again. Call back to his Lux performance against T1. He is the one making the picks. He's the one starting the fights off. And the moment they get a favorable fight, the moment they get the numbers advantage, RIX's team composition. Random on the Jace that was shut down early. He came back. 7 that's been farming up a Storm. They just run you down. They clean up the fight like nothing.
And one thing that we didn't get a chance to mention about Vivo Key's composition, there's a ton of single target CC, but when it comes to zone control, when it comes to AoE CC, outside of Slash's package, it's almost nothing.
They've got the box.
Yeah.
They've got a flay, Rafa.
The flay in the box is not going to do too much when you've got all 5 members just with a death wish on your hand, just running full speed at you.
Yeah, now they're getting picks, but it's not picks on the targets that you want. You really have just one win condition at this point for Vivo Key, and that's playing to Odysseus and the side lane. Fortunately for Vivo, they don't have to take a 5v5 for the next couple minutes. This is the timing window where you send your Camille away, and you really just try to TF pot to his lane, but the lane assignments are a bit odd right now. I'm not sure what this is.
Odysseus wants to be on the Baron side of the map.
Yeah.
But if he cannot split push against Random, who has 3 items to his name,
Katrina's dead.
We have double skirmishes on both sides of the map. Red buff being scored away, whereas Katrina gets completely routed off by 7, who is having an absolute monster of performance on this Kha'Zix today.
He's 5,000 gold up on Lord, Rafa.
This is what can happen in the Kha'Zix Lee Sin matchup. You don't snowball, you don't get ahead, and it is the Kha'Zix that runs rampant on the Rift. And it is Europe once again looking to their 2nd seed to make them proud.
RIX now, following GameLot's performance earlier today, they want to be the 2nd European team to keep moving forward in Icons. And at least in this game 1, they're making a very solid case for it. Destiny gets popped. That might just be the 3rd one of the game.
Okay, Katrina can get a range.
nothing.
No, but Snitch is too slippery on this Singe. Yes, it cost his flash, but he gets to keep his life.
Counted, Rafa. The first Destiny gate to the bot lane. Too late. 2nd one at the Rift Tower fight. Gets nothing. Slash.
8 minutes too late, and Vivo Key is too late to maintain control of the jungle pit. You can't walk in there, it doesn't belong to you anymore. Katrina gets a huge shutdown onto this 7 Kha'Zix though. Can they turn this fight around? Odysseus, what can he do?
He didn't get the flip.
He can't do a damn thing. It's just too much damage to deal with from the rest of RIX. Remember, this isn't a composition that has tanks, it's all bruisers, but when you're falling behind and RIX gets to slap you with thicker wallets, there's only so much that you can do.
And RIX just get the mid inhibitor for free. Snitch is not in a great spot right now, but he's back. He's okay. He's all good. Frankly, Rafa, I think he's too tanky to even die right now.
You know, even if there was a pause, Snitch could have just been like, I mean, I'm not gonna die.
Yeah, he's like, no need to pause, guys. We are chilling. We're good. But the important point that I want to raise right now, Vivo Key's team composition. I said I loved it, right? Once you get to the mid game, once you get to the late game, it's great. But the problem is, it's so execution reliant. You're so reliant on the Destiny Gate timers to make plays. And all 3 of them in a 14-minute game have just been squandered by Katrina and his team.
And when we look back at the first Destiny potential play on the bottom side of the map where Doom Splash was forced, you called it out. I didn't think that it was going to be that damning for Vivo Key, but I might have just been absolutely wrong on that front. Odysseus, though, alongside Katrina, looking for a pick here. Most of the members are not isolated, though. They're still looking for a gold card on the Singe. No, remember, Snitch doesn't have flash from before, still running away. And the poison is ticking, but Doom is just annihilated
today, and it goes over to Europe, it goes over to Doom.
And it's a Prime Gaming ace once again, Omo. RIX striking first in this series.
And they strike hard, Rafa. That was domination from start to finish from RIX. Vivo Key, they said we shut down Random, we killed him once, we killed him twice, but it's not nearly enough. And today's the day of Europe, Sims.
Game Lord and RIX. I don't know what you guys had in your coffee. Maybe that Singaporean coffee is hitting different right
Pretty
now.
good, huh?
I know I had some, and I feel pretty freaking fantastic right now. And I know RIX is too.
1-0 right now from RIX to start things off. The score doesn't quite matter that much, but the way they won that game, so decisive. And I would love to see Vivo Key go back to the drawing board, play something a little bit easier, lean into the team fights. That comp was frankly just too execution reliant. It's
Two big shout outs. First of all, Random for absorbing pressure like a Chad.
Yeah.
Like an absolute king. Making sure that, yes, he went down twice in all the attempts from Vivo Key, but he absorbed the pressure well, and the rest of RIX got stuff done on the other side of the map. And then the second shout out, I mean, it's gotta be 7 on this Kazakhs, man.
Yeah. He had an amazing performance. He was controlling the map, farming up a storm, covering his
He was
laners,
a
getting
monster.
kills. My personal shout out though has to go to Doom. I feel like this guy doesn't get much
True.
resources from his team, but he still performs so well by himself in isolation. He starts off fights, he lines up the angles so well on the Varus arrows. Same thing as with his Lux performance. It seems like he's playing the same champion. He does it fantastically though.
Yeah, Doom, absolute Giga Chad status here. But, you know, we're going to throw it to a couple other Giga Chads over on the desk with Digon, Riku, and TJ.
I appreciate that, Rafa. Your radio MC hosting pretty Giga Chad as well as RIX. That's how they open.
That's a word, sure. Yes. I'm just a little upset about what came afterwards, all right?
What?
What?
He said I would have done worse.
Ah.
I think I could have done better.
yeah, I
I'm
forgot
the
about
only
that
one that
part.
remembered
True.
this.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll get him next time.
That was pretty
We'll
Giga
get it.
Chad of them. All right, RIX take the
We'll do
number
one of
one
those to go to-
game here as they move on, as they are one game away from moving on here is Vivo Key still in good spirits here. You know, like, it wasn't the best game there from Odysseus in the top side of the map. But RIX, as Rafa and Omo said, start to finish, a pretty dominant game here.
Yeah, and I think the most impressive part of it was the way they approached those team fights. I've said many times that European team fights can look sloppy. RIX probably the best executors of them, and we see it there. Very straightforward front to back. It's the second time today we've seen a European team drop that bread and butter frontline, Varus behind composition, and it worked out perfectly here. Doom landed some really good Varus arrows, demonstrated why he's one of the best Dragon laners in Europe.
100% agree. I mean, usually when you see a Varus, you want disengage, right? You need something to pair with that. And Gragas wasn't available. Look what Clue used. It is that Braum, because you know how VK is going to execute this. You know that they're going to go in.
Yeah, and when we're talking about this composition and the way that RIX and Game Lord played today, it's worth mentioning this isn't EU meta. You still see little bits of the EU meta here. I think the Braum on Clue is one of his favorite picks, but they have picked up what the Asian teams are doing. They have picked up the Singed mid in a way that I think we saw it once or twice in EU finals, and that was it. Here it's seen a ton of play. We've seen Varus with a ton of play instead of Draven or any of the nonsense they're playing over in EU. And that adaptation, I think, speaks very well to what RIX have been able to do. They've come here, they've figured out what's working on the tournament stage, and they've been able to execute it well.
True. Going back again, reversing back to the top of the show. The WRL formula. They focus on that top and jungle. Random and Seven did a phenomenal job getting, Random ahead with his kills. And as well, in the later stages of the game, it was also Seven getting a lot of kills for himself. And at that point, you're up against a Lee Sin. Unfortunately, you can't match the fighting power, especially if you're behind. So I like this from RIX, especially when they got ahead. They did what they were supposed to do back in their T1 series, is hammering down the lead, keep going, and having these clean fights.
Yeah, and that's a difficult part here with Keed, who did focus on the top side of the map. Were up 2 kills early on, but as we saw in the replay, they were still down in gold. So I think you made a lot of investment to try and get a kill, but you weren't farming very well, and then you allowed the other parts of RIX to scale up.
And I want to flag 2 parts now. First of all, Snitch, one of the team leaders, who isn't playing here on stage. He's playing from a safe distance because he did get a positive COVID test result, so he's playing remotely. And he's still doing really well. And then we also have the performance from their jungler, Seven, who is not only delivering in terms of finding the picks, but in joining that kind of team movement, taking away gold from the jungle, punishing the attention on the top side. That's the kind of macro play that allows you to play this style of game, that allows you to slowly choke out a team that is putting all of their resources into your top laner.
Yeah, you gotta appreciate the versatility that Snitch brings to the mid lane, right? Anything that RIX needs, Snitch can play it.
Yeah, as you take a look at the gold graph and the damage chart, that gold graph, it was still hovering around a RIX lead around 2K until the big fight around 8 minutes, and then we saw the game-ending pentakill, our second one today, third overall, second one on Paris.
Second one on Varus.
Second one.
Again, high priority on these backline carries, almost like someone has been talking about it for a little while.
Can I talk about something I was wrong about, though?
Of course, I know
Actually-
you love being wrong on TV.
On the record, I wasn't wrong about it, but I was wrong in my head. At the very beginning of this tournament, I'm going above and beyond. I haven't said enough wrong things. At the very beginning of this tournament, it was said to me, I think it was Stuart, who said, you know, over in Europe, we have some incredibly good top laners. We have some incredibly good Baron laners who are going to really show up at this tournament. And I thought, really? Against international competition? But Lonely Kid, now Random, both dominating in that lane.
And I think that's very important, right? Because when we look into the future of Icons, is that a lot of the team to beat right now, or the region to beat, is the WRL. A lot of them play around top and jungle, so this really works so well as the tournament progresses for the European teams.
All right, so one game in the books. Game 2 will be here. We'll be doing that draft for you. What are the changes you want to see for Vivo Keep?
Okay, because it's so difficult, right? RIX already basically figured out removing Mayna's best champion, which is the Rakan.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's still a lot open. The Sett, the Galio, a lot of these playmaking tanks that it can open up. I feel like Vivo Kid panicked a little bit when they saw the Varus on the side of RIX, said, okay, let's take the Thresh instead, even though we wanted to take a more team fighting output or angle for Mayna.
TJ?
That would be my criticism of Mayna's pick. I think the Thresh kind of chained him to that bottom lane. When you're into a Varus, I think more than anything, you want your support to be able to leave the lane. So I'd say counterpick. Get yourself something like a Ziggs, give Mayna the power to roam, and then use that roam to get early carries online. Because even on that Thresh, even with everything we've talked about, Mayna actually played really well that game, delivering as the best support in his region. What they were lacking, other damage in the team fight because they fell behind early. Get something that Mayna can roam on, and get something that Mayna can set up for success in the opening moments of this game.
Well, to be fair, again, the top kill, the first kill, was on Random on the top side of the map with Odysseus, Mayna, and Lord there.
Yeah.
It just didn't translate into it. So then is it on Katrina to hold better in those other lanes that aren't getting the same type of attention?
Well, I think when you're running a Twisted Fate, you're guaranteeing you're going to get those early picks. But the problem with the Twisted Fate is he's never going to be a late game carry. And so if you're going to be able to actually translate Twisted Fate lead, you need to keep snowballing and keep getting kills. And that's where the fact that Mayna was returning to that bottom lane, wasn't able to be part of like a roaming squad, was part of their loss.
I feel like if they're going for that angle again with the Twisted Fate, one thing that has been resurgent in popularity, at least for the WCS, is the Senna Twisted Fate combo, because you hide in the mist, you don't know what's coming. Is that a gold card or is just a
gold card?
It's just a surprise, it's a gold card. So I feel
Believe in the heart of the cards.
Oh no, we're going there. We're going there. But I feel like that's another approach that they can do. Also, dialing back to year 0 of Wild Rift, by the way, they had Lee Sin, they had Twisted Fate. You know what's strong at the top lane with those 2 picks? Renekton, that can easily snowball. If you can set that up, I feel like that's going to be another angle that Vivo Key can do.
Riku,
DJ.
I'm going to hit you with another
what's
one.
up?
Another combo with the Twisted Fate. Galio support.
Oh, yeah.
Very popular in SCA,
That's true.
very popular in the WRL. Would give Mayna the tools to contribute to those fights, would give him the tools to get out on the map early.
The pressure is on for Vivo Keed right now. Again, one game away. Elimination day, man. It is stressful out here.
It is.
You could feel the stress between all the players. We got to see them as they were walking on earlier. They walked by our little hosting booth and, you know, we say hi and they're like, thank you, you know, a little nervous. But now, after taking that first loss, I'm sure you're starting to feel the tension boil up. Again, Odysseus, being a little funny as they're going backstage, but it's real now. This could be your final game here in Singapore, your final time at the Global Championship. Will they be able to bounce back? Let's find out as we start with game number 2. The draft is underway. Gragas and Lee Sin taken away by Vivo Keed. RIX taken away the Karma.
You know what's interesting? You know, whenever I see a team that immediately bans a Gragas, removing one of the best disengaged champions, and as well a great 2v2 in lane, I could see a world where VK is going to go for an all-bruiser, all-in type of composition, which means that, you know, Clue can also pick again the Braum.
Yeah, I think the Braum is really effective in these types of games because he's such a good defensive support. Anytime you have a composition with something like a Varus in it, hypothetically,
Yeah.
they would like to kite back, they would like to play on the back foot. Varus is very, very good at setting up for those fights, and you have the Braum to make sure nobody can reach him.
A lot of respect now for VK, right? Towards RIX here. Removing randoms, amazing pick again on this Jace. Makes me wonder what the priority is going to be because Yuumi is still basically open for the taking. And we talked about main as team fighting. Yuumi is another way to access those.
Yeah. I love how this pick ban phase, and specifically this series, has gone away from a lot of the trends that we've seen earlier, though. Corki, most picked champion here. Lucian, most picked champion here. So you got a lot of options still up. Wukong, a very highly picked champion. Riku.
Rakan's open. It makes me wonder if RIX picks this in the first red side, at least get a Ziggs Rakan. I feel like that could be possible. Just take that away from Mena.
Would love to see the Rakan for Clue. The first pick, though, the Corki, that backline option for Vivo Kid. A little bit more aggressive, can keep pace with a dive, will be able to play in the backline of these fights and deal damage.
And additionally, the Corki can be flexed either mid and bot, so not a lot of revelation.
He's doing yoga. Flexible.
Yeah, flexing here and there. But surprisingly, they decided to go Kha'Zix instead, so that means Rick says we're confident enough. Fine, take the Rakan, because this is the... VK has to pick it now or else it's going to get banned on the next bans.
I mean, Seven's really good on the Buggy Boy, so it's all about getting him a comfort pick, and he's got this space to operate it because we're seeing that Singed yet again in the mid lane, a very safe defensive pick that enables your side lanes.
And there it is, the Rakan. Locked on in.
There he is.
Ooh, there he is.
It's almost like we were talking about it the whole time. Rick's letting that one through, making the decision. They want the Buggy Boy for 7. I like that one. And then Ziggs getting locked on in here.
Not a surprise right there. Of course, you want solid wave clear again. This is the WRL formula recipe where the Kha'Zix can move towards top side while the Ziggs is busy going bot lane. One thing I want to see though, Yasuo for VK.
Okay, Riku.
Yes.
Why do you want to see a Yasuo for VK?
Because that's exactly what Vivo Key did and used back in Wild Tour with the Rakan setup for Katrina.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, especially when you already have the Rakan.
Yes.
I think on the opposite side, Ricks are filling out the flowchart, right? You've got the Varus that we wanted earlier. Ziggs fills that same role of being able to play safe in that bottom lane, get good clear. Now my question is, what does Clue have? What do you pick as a defensive option? I like the Galio. I would have liked the set. Vivo Kia didn't like the idea of there being a set in Clue's hands, so they ban it out.
Yeah.
Followed by the Galio. And now the pool is a little bit smaller, still looking at like Alistar as an option, that kind of engage that can roam because you have the Ziggs down bottom.
And this has felt like a pretty good draft here by Vivo Kid, by the fact that they've picked everything, that they've gotten mostly everything that they wanted and banned away a lot of the options that you said were what Rix had.
Can I be smug for like 2 seconds?
Okay.
Oh, I love Smug J.
Galio, set, Alistar. Those are the champions you play alongside Ziggs. Rix know it, I know it. Very well done.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where does Rix want to disengage to protect the Ziggs? But most likely, especially that Random and Seven had an amazing performance earlier, of course they want to supply that with engage.
I will say, Rix, as we go into the final pick, lacking a little bit of damage.
Yeah.
I want to see some more teamfight damage in this composition, especially during the early game, because Singed and Ziggs are not going to come online for a while. Neither is Kha'Zix. Darius plugs that hole, is a team fighter during the early mid-game, can show up to the first dragon fight and do real hurt.
Rengar, y'all!
Yeah!
Rengar got locked in by Vivo Kid.
Okay, this is going to be super interesting, right? Because it feels like it operates quite similarly because, I don't know, damage, where is the damage? Of course, it's going to be a potential pick type of composition where you have a Hextech Ultimatum, then Thrill of the Hunt. Yes, a lot of squishies on the side. You got Ziggs, you got the Kha'Zix as well. But, my god, 3 tanky champions on the side of Rix. I feel like these assassins will have a hard time.
Yeah, Vivo Kid, I don't know how they win a team fight with this composition. they need a massive gold lead to get to the point where the Rengar, the Camille can one-shot people. So it's all about finding those isolated picks instead, catching people out in the side lanes, getting a gold lead, getting to the late game where your Camille comes online.
All right, Vivo Kid trying to isolate the isolator in the Kazakhs that RIX has. We'll see if they're going to be able to do it. They'll need to if they want to stay here for one more game. Rafa and Omo are ready to bring it to you. Take it away.
We are, Degon. You can't see it, but we've got the fists up and ready to go. This is match point for RIX on the line here. For RIX, if they win this game, they not only keep their tournament lifelines alive, but they also send Vivo Kid home. And for all the banter between EU and Brazil leading up to this moment, it would be super sweet for RIX to close it out.
It really would. And with the draft that RIX have, pretty much run back of what they had last game, I think they're poised to do it.
But for Vivo Kid, you can't count them out.
Oh, yeah.
For Brazil, as we talked to many of their players before, don't sleep on us, don't sleep on this region.
Yeah.
And one of the things that the analyst desk was talking about, they brought up valid concerns that Vivo Kid's current composition does not bring that much consistent damage. It's not anything like a traditional backliner like, the Ziggs that you're going to see. But one thing I do want to point out is with the itemization changes that we've seen, Divine Sunder being such a popular item, that is an item that alone allows bruisers to become sustain, tanky DPS machines.
Yeah.
But as long as you get ahead on the gold lead, which that is going to be the key here for Vivo.
Yeah, well, the two things I want to raise about Vivo Kid's team composition is, yes, like our analyst Des said, it's a bit low on damage, but at least it's better than last game. At least the team fighting is much more simple this time around. What are we going to do, right? Rakan, Camille, Ranga, what do all these champions do? Package and Cocky, Garen. We want to run into you, we want to kill your backline. Backline's only Doom, but they really want to kill him.
And when you think about the Wild Tour, when you think about what they excel at before, it's the late game team fights.
Yeah.
The 30, 40-minute bangers that you just see being played for almost an eternity. And for RIX, I'm sure that they've played out long games before, but I don't think they've ever played against a Brazil long game before.
The ability to be explosive as well from the Brazilian teams. Let's see if that's something that they can pull off with a team comp that should, in theory, enable for it. Mena Cup's coming for a roam.
I don't think it's going to result in anything. However, Odysseus,
He has Ignite. He could kill him here.
he thought about it, but Random has the barrier. Odysseus just maintaining the freeze, doesn't want to disrupt it, forcing Random to recall.
I feel like Odysseus could have pressured that one a bit harder, but you gotta consider the context of the game as well. Elimination game, match point. You don't want to take any risk here.
People keep taking their game slow. One of the big things here in the changes in this game plan, as you already mentioned before, because they are not relying on something like the Twisted Fate, you're not as pressed to explode in the early mid game. So it gives Vivo Kid a little bit more leisure, a little bit more lax state to see how they can just ease into the mid and late game.
Definitely, and Ranga though, even though he's also an ultimate reliant timing champion, he has a bit more flexibility with that because you can do the thing with Camille that we talked about. You get into the late game, Rakan, Ranga, Camille, just dive into the backline, right? So it's more flexible than a Twisted Fate. But still, you want to be making plays with your timings.
Oh, I think you called it before. Yeah, the hook shot doesn't land the flash, but you're just getting in range to set up first blood for Vivo Kid.
Absolutely nowhere to run for Snitch there. And the Hextech ultimatum gets taken down. 3 minutes on the clock as well. That means that basically every spell will be back up for the 4-minute timing play. And this is a good tempo for Vivo Kid. They're starting it off.
Immediately acting upon that level 5 power spike. And it all started with the lane state from Odysseus. He had an advantage in the lane against Random, set up the wave stake, got the reset immediately, booked it to the mid lane, whereas Random was busy catching the top wave.
And that was the problem. They identified correctly. The Random was trying to freeze the wave. Just like that, they go for the all-in. They're going for another play.
Oh, Grand Entrance lands the knockup charm for the charm as well. And it's Grand Entrance in the full combo from Mena. Doesn't necessarily get anything out of Random outside the barrier.
He is pretty low, and they're waiting for Hookshot to come back up, I think. I don't know why Random is so brave right now.
It's all about sending a message, Omo.
Yeah, well.
He had the BM stance. He's doing a little stutter step. He's like, you gonna do anything else? You got
Look
nothing.
at this, Rafa. Look at the trade here.
Oh, God.
Nothing Slash can do. Nothing Lot can do. They're forced out.
It's a Super Mega Inferno Bomb from Doom that forcing Lord out alongside the pressure and the overwhelming amount of numbers from RIX. They're all inning on for the first brick on the bottom side of the map. 800 health, but not enough to take it out completely. Vivo Kid are able to defend for now.
Vivo Kid, hold on, but look at the health of the bot lane turret. 800 left here. Slash has been left alone the entire game, and you gotta consider what champion is he playing, Rafa. It's not a Varus, it's not a Singed, it's not something you leave alone. Corki needs gold, Corki needs items. He's not getting any of that.
He wants that Storm Razor badly. You know, it's not going to be a Hull Breaker Corki that is split pushing for eternity like we've seen the mid Corkis do. This is a Corki that is going to be doing some serious critical damage.
He's going to be diving in with the rest of them, I think. I feel like that's the goal here for Vivo Kid. Basically, all 5 members, get on your backline, dive in. That's basically the goal.
Yeah, I mean, Vivo Kid are basically avoiding one of the big weaknesses of trying to figure out how to team fight positionally.
Yeah.
If everyone's going forward, every man for himself. You just hit someone, go for a target, and the proactivity once again. Hextech ultimatum into thrill of the hunt. They lock down the bug and they squash him.
And Aldous Sayers has been the man of the hour here for Vivo Kid. Has been making the plays happen. In 5 minutes, he's gotten 2 picks.
Oh, Mayna looking for 2 with the quickness. Charms up 2 members of RIX here.
Nice put him
Blue
out.
is forced out, doesn't pop the ultimate. Good patience, knowing that he wasn't in critical danger.
Oh, but Rift Herald resets. Because of this, RIX can go start the Dragon. They get the pick, but they get nothing out of it. It's just going to be an objective trade. That pick basically meant nothing.
And look at RIX. They might be able to at least stop this or slow down the Rift Herald take because it's only 1 member from Lord that is slowly whittling it down. But now with the Dragon being publicly taken, and is going to announce to the rest of Vivo Kid that they can finish off the Rift Herald without any problem.
And Katrina with the Howlbreaker as well, getting the bot lane turret. That's going to be gold in the pockets of Vivo Kid. 21,000, they have 2,000 gold lead. They have the Rift Herald that's going to be so important against Ziggs. You want to break that mid lane turret, but Ziggs makes it so hard. Rift Herald lets you do it.
Yeah, huge change here for Vivo Kid so far is that they're the ones leading with a massive gold lead, considering that in game 1, Vivo Kid had the first 2 kills, but they were technically behind in gold because RIX were doing such a good job of neutralizing every single play. Whereas Vivo Kid, they're actually getting the snowball down.
Oh, this is great.
Random. He still has Flash and Barrier, Tactical Sweep. He's almost getting closer. Mayna gets the barrier out, but he should have enough damage thanks to Slash on the flank. Reinforcements coming in, and you can hear the cheers from the Vivo Kid members in the stadium.
And with Doom dead as well, that should be the mid lane turret down. They can get top lane as well.
Blue taking half of his HP as an assault. Still trying to maintain defense of the Baron turret at the moment, whereas the rest of Vivo Kid are starting to split up their forces, pivoting towards mid lane. 3 onto top side.
Huge.
That's a massive knockup from Clue. Can you follow up from 7? Yes, he can! The Giant Bug's got giant claws, and he's ready to slash through Mayna.
But that's just the support. The good news for RIX here is they don't lose any turrets, but they're falling behind in gold, they're falling behind in kills. Vivo Kid are starting to pull further and further ahead, Rafa.
RIX now have an opportunity. They have tempo to push in this mid wave. No one is answering. They might be able to get enough chip damage to set up for Dune to at least get it down to 50% HP. Won't be talking out the turret quite yet here, but Vivo Kid have to be careful the next time they give RIX an inch in the mid lane.
Yeah, you gotta consider the satchel charge power as well. They can easily just take that one down. On the flip side, RIX's own mid lane turret with the Ziggs in the mid lane should be up for a while, right? It should be up for pretty long. But because of the Rift Herald, it's down to 290. It's very easy for Vivo Kid themselves to just come in, knock that one down, and Ziggs loses so much space on the map.
And don't get me wrong, Omo. And I was very impressed by RIX in game 1, their dominant performance against Vivo Kid. But I'm happy that Vivo Kid are fighting back, because this means that we're in for a back-and-forth series potentially, and it is Vivo Kid once again on the assault. They get a little bit of a punt out from Clue, not any major resources used though, so RIX winning out on that trade.
Vivo Kid don't lose anything in these plays, but they don't really gain as much as I think they could as well. Like we said, right, the context of this game, it's so important. You can't afford to lose it. You can't afford to throw it away. You have to be careful. But I feel like Vivo Kid could be a bit more decisive, could be a bit more aggressive.
They're taking their time and they're being cautious about how they move.
Very cautious.
For them, thankfully, if you are a fan of the Brazil region, You have now amounted 3,000, 4,000 gold ahead of RIX. But if you're on the side of Europe, if you're hoping, if you have any concerns about RIX, it's not an insurmountable lead. They're still in this game.
They definitely are still in this game, and this top lane turret, Vivo Key, the eyes are set on it.
Oh god, Mena is far from home. Grand entrance, battle dance. Oh, he might, no, not enough. The Ignite took him down. Turret has been traded for his life. Can Vivo Key ensure that no one else goes down to make sure that sacrifice does not go down in vain? They have the mobility to do so.
Well, Mena was traded there for one turret. There's not going to be anything that RIX can take out of this. Actually, I say that, but they could go for mid-turret, and that would put them in a great position. For the Rift Herald, look at Clue.
Yeah, Clue is in great position to at least stop some of the rotations over from Odysseus. It is close, and they get it down, but Hextech Ultimatum as an answer onto Random, but great response from Clue. Punts Odysseus away. No more pick available onto RIX.
And RIX are holding on. They're stabilizing the game state right now. They're losing a little bit on the map, but they're managing to trade back. They're not losing as much as I feel they should. Like I said, Vivo Key not been pressing the advantage as much as I think they could. They're gonna get the Rift Herald here, but what can they get out of this? They need to be decisive. This is your chance to break the game open, Vivo Key. You need to grasp it.
Get a quick vibe and item check across the board for both teams at 10.5 minutes.
We're chilling.
Divine Sunders and Black Cleavers being completed across the board here for Vivo Key, which is what we were alluding to. This is not the old assassin full lethality build Rengar that is looking to one-shot squishies in the backline, because frankly, there's only one squishy. you have to be dealing with a bunch of bruisers in the Singe, in the Alistar, in the Darius, and so that Divine Sunder, both for him and Camille, is going to give him a lot of sustained power. Snitch, woo, that was close.
They miss. I mean, Vivo Key, it just feels like they're uncertain if they want to commit or not. You just use the you use the Rakan ultimate there. You get the kill 100%.
Oh, maybe they'll go for round 2. They've already got the flash out of Snitch, and this time they can guarantee it, but Stasis from Doom. It's going to give him a little bit of relief. Mena! Que forza de un knock from this Rakan! They get a massive blow to RIX, and suddenly Europe is on the back foot. This is the Potencia de Brazil at its finest.
That team fight was so close, but the MVP there, Mena, for sure, had everyone in RIX funneled into the choke point, and that just let him set up the massivest Rakan combo I've seen today.
This is what Vivo Key are known for in the Wild Tour. Finding those team fights in the choke points where they all commit as one. No fear, no hesitation. Let's take a look at it again.
This team fight started off with Odysseus going in, trying to lock down the Ziggs. Jonia shuts that down, but because you're stasis, you can't run away. Mena comes in, RW locks your entire team up. How do you do anything in that situation? Thankfully, Doom was live, but the fight continues.
And we're back at it again. Mena finding another knockup thanks to the efforts of Lord locking up Clue. Another straggler caught up on the Snitch. Protobot away, but Mena's now on the hunt. Grand entrance into the quickness once again. Vivo Key are rampaging on forward.
Vivo Key pull ahead to a 4,000 gold lead here. I feel like they should have a bit more, but that's pretty good, Rafa.
For RIX, that means they're still within striking distance, but right now, the way that Vivo Key are playing this game, you have to play with caution, because this 5-man squad, when they're running together, when they have the numbers advantage, it is so hard for RIX to fight back. However, Random has something to say about it, though! The dunk onto Slash, and getting the flash out of Katrina shows that Random still got fight within him.
Random is refusing to lose right now. Slash shouldn't have gone in. He didn't need to. But look at this, the play continues.
Oh, Lord is just trying to do his blue buff, but now RIX has something to say about all the plays that are being made by Brazil's second seed. But he gets out, flash over the wall. Mena has the quickness, charms him up, and it looks like Vivo Key's jungler gets out with the skin of his teeth.
Flash committed, but that's also flash committed from Clue, and you could argue Alistair Flash is more important than Rengar's. Good trade from Vivo.
All right, yeah, the action is finally settled down here. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of the action. But we need to catch our breath. This is a little too wild for us.
Let's try to figure out what's going on with the game state, right? It feels like Vivo Key are winning pretty hard. They've won like every fight, but RIX are still in this, 100%. It's still a close game.
Exactly. That's why there's still hope for Europe right now.
Yeah.
And this gold being stricken down from the outer turret means that there's still local gold that they can catch back up on easily.
Vivo want to cut them off here.
Oh, this would be great. You can
This could
either
be
force
huge.
them into a bad fight, or you can take the outer mid turret for free. They cut off the retreat path, but it doesn't look like the execution is there.
Yeah, it's a good call, but you don't want to start the fight on Alistair.
Lord, oh, he gets put it back forth. He doesn't have flash from before. A great flip from Snitch, and that is the punish
the
from
reset.
RIX. And now the resets are coming in. They've got the
Random's
movement
reset.
speed. Can they run them down? Vivo Keyed on the run here, and Odysseus he thought about a little bit of a flank, but he was
Yeah.
like, that's one too many people. I don't want to go in on that one.
I'm just heartbroken Random didn't get to pop off right there. It's a bit sad when you see the Darius reset amount to nothing, but still fantastic engage coming in. Clue, Protobelt, headbutt, backwards, nowhere for you to go.
14 and a half minutes into the game now, Omo. Dragons, one apiece for both Vivo Keyed and RIX. And as we stated before, Vivo Keyed has been making great strides forward in these team fights, but RIX is holding on.
They truly are, and you talked about this, Rafa. You said Vivo Key's late game potential could be the thing that wins them this game, could be the thing that keeps them alive in this series, in the tournament. But RIX, they're looking good here. Keep in mind, they lost to T1 in the late game. But that's the WCK late game, right? You can't really blame them. Maybe their late game is good too. Maybe we get to see it this game.
One doesn't simply take on a Korean team in the late game, Omo.
Exactly. You can't beat a WRL team in the early game. Can't beat a WCK team in the late.
Now Vivo Keyed, later the game goes on. Theoretically, they are favored. Slash right now with this package has a way
They're hunting.
has a way to make sure that RIX don't enter into this pit. However, Elder Dragon is not coming up for some time here.
What?
But they find the pick package right
No.
on to Doom. And without the explosive master himself, that's a significant portion of damage that is gone.
I think you start Baron here. Rengar does a lot of damage to that. You have to crit 80s carry, but they're not gonna commit to anything, I guess.
Baron's a little too scary.
It's a little tricky, I get it. You don't want to risk throwing the game away.
And
Yeah.
then flipping 50-50 when the jungler's still
Uh-oh.
up. Oh, why don't just go for another pick here? Random is separated. The knockup from Mana connects. He doesn't get the decimate swing. He's gone.
Oh,
RIX are now down
no.
2-3 people. And with 15 seconds on the Elder Dragon, this
they're
could
gonna
be
get
Vivo
it.
Keyed's window.
This is huge here. Vivo Key with the Elder Inferno at that. They're likely going to be able to snowball their lead. The fight continues.
Oh my god, they have done it again! Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But fool me 3 times, and RIX lose out on their jungler, and no way to contest the Elder now.
That's exactly the point, Rafa. Vivo Key fold them over and over and over again. How many times can you fall for that? I want to say Vivo are doing an amazing job at setting up the traps, at setting up the baits. But RIX, frankly, are doing an amazing job at falling for it.
Classic debate maneuver finally plays into the hands of Vivo Keyed,
Yeah.
the second seed
Oh,
of Brazil. And now with the advantage, the death timers, they are snowballing it into Baron because they know even if they want to pull off it, they have the Elder Dragon, they have the damage.
No
you gotta
damage.
be careful about Doom, Mega Inferno Ball, but it's only hasn't inflicted that much. You have Katrina on the backside just doing as much as they can, and now they turn off to the Baron. They turn for the fight. RIX showing everything they can to fight back, to hold on to this game, but frankly, it is Vivo Keyed all day. Viva Brazil! They are here to stay, and they are here to bring us to a game 3.
They gotta bring us to a match point here, Rafa. And what a performance from Vivo Key. They played it patiently. They played it slow. They danced the objective. A very controlled win here for Vivo.
A performance muito bem from Vivo Keyed, the second seed of Brazil, showing their potencia, su força. This is Vivo Keyed at their best, and they are here to go the distance.
10,000 gold lead at the end of that one. It was a little bit slow, but it was very controlled. And Vivo Key, they had the lead the entire game. With that, they're bringing us to a game 3.
What a banger comp, dude. Just
It's sick, huh?
like, the Twisted Fate, yeah, I didn't get much
Yeah.
mileage out of it, and Katrina said, man, screw this. Just give me the Garen, man. Let me just run in there. Let me be a big meat shield. Let me have 10,000 HP. Let me have all these resistances. And let me just happen to do a bunch of true damage on top of it as well.
You know what's better than the go-kart? The Master Justice.
Yeah.
10 times better, I tell you.
You know what's better than Sun?
What?
Killing them. Who needs to stun them? That death is the best CC here.
Exactly. That's the philosophy we should be going by, and that's the philosophy that Vivo Key's team comp went by as well. Just kill them.
Yeah, who needs to stun when you can just kill them over again? But you know who is truly stunning Omo? Our lovely analysts on the analyst desk, Dagon, Riku, and TJ. Break us down that game and tell us what's going to happen in this match point.
All right. Well, we'll do our best. Again,
I know.
Vivo Key coming back here because we said, hey, Vivo Keys are going to have trouble finding fights because they're not going to be able to team fight as well. But that's not what happened, TJ.
Well, it is what happened. They did have a composition that couldn't team fight. The problem is, RIX never forced a team fight. Even in what should have been a 5v5, they kept walking in 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 into the danger zone, letting Vivo Kid deploy their composition with massive single target damage in areas where RIX should have been able to back each other up. It was a failure of team communication and coordination in team fights in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, that was the worry, right? When we looked at the draft, it's like, where's the damage? A little bit worrisome. There was the Corki, but the single target from, again, Hextech Ultimatum into the Thrill of the Hunt.
And I also want to highlight part of this, the Garen, as you've just seen on screen. Like a quiet assassin here. If your entire team composition is built around blowing up a single target, and you can wheel in the Garen to the fight, and you have the knockups, the Hextech Ultimatum to like slow them down, then the Garen wheels in on the go-kart, deploys the big ultimate, and the Demacian Justice drops somebody down from 30% of their HP to not every single time. Easy kill guarantee.
I agree with you, TJ. The fact that Garen, you're welcome. The fact that Garen has been a timeless pick where if you see assassins, if you see assassins on the other side, then that Garen is the best pick. One of the best picks, rather, because you're tanky. You deter any burst damage in the early game to mid game, and the fact that you have a silence. So if the Kha'Zix jumps in, like rah, and then you just silence, hit them with a sword.
How's the Kha'Zix jump in?
Ah!
Yep.
That's true. And I think a big part of this, like I talked about the RIX failure in team fights. Here it is. Here's an example of a team fight where RIX just managed to get like separated and picked apart 1 by 1 and 2 by 2. The other thing is, after this, after Vivo Kid are in the game with a ton of assassination potential, and it has been demonstrated, you see them repeatedly walk into those side lanes 1 by 1 and be vulnerable to it. I don't care if your wave's there, lose 20 CS so that you don't die.
Yeah, and here's one of those cases right here on the top side of the map.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, it's safe to go ahead. The wave is kind of on our side of the map, but yeah, no vision. They consistently were walking into this assassination squad. And it was after we saw RIX kind of stabilize a little bit and start grouping up again. And there was a skirmish before this specific clip where it was like, oh, you know what, RIX do have firepower to win a fight if they're clumped up together.
Because RIX normally are a team that is so well coordinated, knows how to communicate in team fights, the only thing that makes sense to me is RIX didn't know what the Vivo Kid composition was going to do. That they hadn't had the conversation where they said, this is a pick comp, we can't be caught alone. This is a composition where we need to team fight it. And if they didn't have that conversation, if they didn't identify that as the key to victory, then the result makes sense. Otherwise, there's some team communication problems or some execution problems that need to be sorted out going into Game 3.
And for me, in contrast to that, Vivo Kid did an amazing job identifying, like, after getting kills, they know what to do next. They know what to do to further their lead even more. And the fact that they're able to get, objectives, especially the Rift Herald, to open the map, that means if you open the map, you own Rix's jungle, and that's the time you can keep rinse and repeating this Thrill of the Hunt into Hextech Ultimatum, bam, kill people.
Right, the assassinations that were happening over and over again. Nice one. One, two, three.
Bam!
Nice. Good job. All right, we take a look at these damage chart numbers, and Odysseus at the top side of the map for Vivo Kid on the Camille, getting it done there, as well as that Corki that was just dishing out damage. But as you said, it was very much the knock-up from the Rakan, Mena getting the Rakan, great draft that ended up working out here, and then the nice wrinkle with the Thrill of the Hunt from the Rengar. I'd imagine that RIX is not going to give all these things back to Vivo Kid.
I mean, it's the flip side, right? Vivo Kid did know exactly what their composition did. They clearly had the conversation. They said, if we team fight, focus individual targets, everyone be on the same page, everyone sync it up. So, to me, that's not even so much a statement about this individual draft. Yes, Vivo Kid executed this draft very well, but if you can execute a draft like that well, then it's clear that the systems are in place to talk about what your team does well, to coordinate executing on that. So, They need to repeat that process. And as long as they can build another composition that has that same singular theme, that same goal, and is executed as well, they'll win.
You know, one thing that we didn't quite get to because we had to hop into the series right away was our predictions for this one, y'all. So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts. Yes, it's 1-1, so games have already played on out, but who did you have? And Riku, let's start with you.
Okay, so I voted for Vivo Kid for winning this series. I don't know. When I watched their Wild Tour performance, I really loved, aside from their personality, the way that they execute team fights. Again, I'm looking at Mena. I keep mentioning his name. Again, best support from Brazil. And he gets to get the Rakan again. And I feel like if he gets the Rakan once more in the third game, they're going to take it home.
Yeah, DJ. I also said Vivo Kid. And for the same reason, I think that Vivo Kid are very aggressive, very good in team fights. RIX GG's weaknesses are specifically there. As we saw in that game, they can fall apart in the team fights. They can fall apart if they don't have that very idealized and communicated goal on their team. Particularly in the macro there, they looked a little weak. They kept walking into side lanes. Stuff like that, EU teams make those mistakes. And it doesn't especially matter whether Vivo Kid make those mistakes because they're in position to punish them.
Yo, you're just wrong. There's only 3 players that have had pentakills. One of them is not on Vivo Kid. It's on RIX.
Well, you didn't know that when the series started.
That's true. And that's
not
why I
why
said now
you
that it's
predicted.
1-1,
You can
who you
use
got?
that now.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sticking with it. RIX taking the win. We'll find out now as we send it on over to our casters. It's do or die time. Vivo Kid and RIX. Who's going home? Let's find out. Rafa and Oma, take us there.
Bam!
Bam! We're taking you there. We're taking you all the way to game 3. No stops on this train here, Omo.
Yeah, no stops on the Vivo Key train as well, Rafa.
Oh,
Once they
snap.
got a lead last game, it was pedal to the metal.
Are you saying that's your prediction for Vivo Key?
yeah.
Oh, snap.
Rafa, I put my money where my mouth is. Before the
Can
entire
you do
plan
that literally?
started.
I think I got
Well, I
some.
have no money, so that's going to be the difficulty.
Oh, you don't want to say that.
I don't want to
we
advertise
gotta,
that one, right?
We came in here swagging with drip. We can't be saying, oh yeah, we're actually broke. No, that's not a Pog vibe. That's very anti-Pog.
Very anti-Pog has been my vibe the entire tournament, but the
Oh,
only thing that I had that has been pogging out has been my predictions, Rafa. And I did predict Vivo Key to come out on top of this group as the 3rd seed over RIX. Let's see if that plays out.
And RIX, for Europe, the hope is that they took some time in the break room with their coach, Mozilla, on stage with them, saying, hey guys, calm down. Don't fall into the Vivo rampant train, which, you know, frankly happened a few too many times where Vivo Keyed, they were all in on just the dive squad.
Do dive.
Yeah, and for RIX, they didn't have ways to adequately space out those engages to buy the room necessary so that Doom can thrive in the backline. Dagon had a miraculous point that the fact that Doom is one of these star carries for this squad.
Yeah.
If you don't give him room to breathe, he can't carry.
And I do feel like the cocky pick wasn't quite it for RIX as well. I feel like Doom looks his best on one of those utility carries where he can start fights, where he can do damage, where he can poke. Cocky doesn't seem to really fit that.
Yeah, neither was the Ziggs. Because the Ziggs, we have seen Ziggs pop off and do insane amounts of damage from long
He can't
range.
start the fight though.
But exactly, he can't start the fight. And the big thing too is that when Vivo Kid is committed to just advancing forward, you have some anti-dive tools, but you can't stop them all. I mean, you stop one in the Rengar, you still got to deal with a Garen, a Camille, and a Rakan, and already the number's overwhelming.
We saw that exact situation played out. He Zhonya'd the Camille engage, and then Rakan just tied him up.
Boom. How can you stop one too many engages? You need a more supportive cast from the rest of RIX as we take to the stage. Game 3, it is match point here for Europe's number 2 seed and Brazil's number 2 seed.
Right off the get-go, RIX are gonna ban away the Ziggs. They're not gonna want to pick that one for themselves. Doom, I think he likely wants to go back to something like the Varus, something like the Lux. I don't think the Lux will be left up though, so Varus duty it might be again.
He did look pretty good on that Archer.
He looked great. He got a pentakill, Rafa.
Some Legolas vibes right there. pretty radical.
It's that scene when Legolas and Gimli were comparing how many kills you could get. They could get
Are we comparing Snitch to Gimli at this point?
Well, Doom just got 5 kills, right? So it's not super impressive.
Hey, well, you have to take the context, right?
Yeah.
The pentakill is the most amazing thing here. And for RIX, the respect Rengar ban has drawn the table.
I feel like this says 2 things. They're afraid of the Rengar 100%. The Rengar makes it too easy for Vivo Keith to play out the comp the way they want to. And I feel like it's also 7 issuing a challenge here. That's exactly what I predicted, right? Because 7 is issuing a challenge. He's saying, don't play the Rengar. Let's play some traditional jungle matchups. Let's do Kha'Zix Lee Sin. Something along those lines here. Vivo Keith say, nah, we're good. Let's get rid of Lee Sin.
Well, they saw what 7 could do with the Lee Sin, and they don't want to deal with it. Also, their ability to use the Lee Sin to snowball the early game, it's a little too fast for Vivo Keith's comfort. They want to play towards the mid game where everyone is on that first item.
So do Vivo Keith just snatch away the Kha'Zix right now? They made it a difficult situation in draw for RIX where they had to choose between the Jace or the Kha'Zix. They chose the Jace. This could very well be cocky Kha'Zix. Maybe.
Other options could be maybe the Sin.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's the Rakan from main. I mean, if you go back to their lower bracket finals against Liberty Esports, it was that Game 5 Rakan performance from Mena, finding that miraculous, heroic flank that sent them into the grand finals against Leviathan, or not Leviathan, Omega Esports in the grand finals of the Wild Tour. And for RIX, they already know the power of this Rakan. When Mena is on his game, there is no engage that he cannot find.
And Mena has been amazing last game on the Rakan as well. Makes perfect sense that they want to grab it for him here again. RIX, they don't want the Kha'Zix this time. It's gonna be Wukong for 7. They want to fight fire with fire. You guys like to engage? You guys like to dive in? We can do that too, and we have a Cyclone for disengage as well.
I think that's the most underrated power of Wukong. So many people always associate with the Cyclone being, okay, yeah, we're going forward, we're diving, but it's the anti-dive, the disengage potential. If you have multiple people that are trying to jump in on you, you can put a stop to that.
Exactly, and jumping in on you, that's the keyword here, right? Wukong cancels jumps. And you look at Vivo Keith's team comp, that's 2 champions that want to jump around already.
Taking away the Camille from Odysseus as well. It was 2 games in a row, even the first game, but I like this from Vivo Keith. They had the opportunity to snipe away the Jace, and even though Snitch lost the second game, playing it both Game 1 and Game 2 with great success, that is a power pick that needed to be taken.
So now the question is, what does Snitch play in the mid lane here? Previously, we saw him pull out an Echo. It might be an Echo game here because it's a dive comp, but I don't feel like it's the best spot as well. Vera's getting banned away by Vivo Keith right now. What does that lead Doom to playing? Ziggs is gone, Senna is gone, Varus is gone. This is Ashe time.
I imagine with the current champions listed out, this is probably going to be Jace in the mid lane for Snitch, Camille towards random. Now, I don't think I've ever seen a Wukong mid before. I definitely haven't seen a Camille mid before, you know, but
yeah, that makes sense. I didn't catch that one. Good catch, Rafa. It's going to be a Jace mid, Camille top, Wukong jungle. Your solo lanes, your top side is completely shown right now. What is your Dragon lane pickup then? I feel like that might be an issue. It really seems to me like Ashe is just the go-to pick right now. And Renekton, that's what Odess was talking about as well. Fantastic to these champions that want to dive into you. Great lane into the Camille as well. You really just shred her once you complete the Blade of the Ruined King.
Support options are plenty this time around, though. Gragas, Set, some of the prime picks, even a Galio could be used to pair alongside some of the dive.
Braum is not bad here for RIX. If they want to run that back, Braum is not a bad pick here. You can go for Freljord bot lane, Ashe Braum. It's not bad at all. But it's going to be Veiga here for Doom.
And when you talk about anti-dive, if you have a bunch of melees that are trying to dive into you that have limited range accessibility, Veigar is a great champion that can punish that if piloted correctly.
You see that RIX have clearly prepared their pocket picks for this series. You ban away out Varus, you ban away out Lux, Veiga, Nami for Doom and Clue. Okay, that's a combo.
Pairing the cage into the tidal wave, you are putting an absolute stop to whatever gas that Vivo Keith wants to slam on in trying to accelerate the pace of these fights. Everyone's still trying to jump in onto the backline. Vivo Keith, despite seeing the Vanguard, despite seeing the Nami, they're not deterred. They slam the Kha'Zix for Lord. This is still, once again, a composition with one thing in mind, Omo. It is to go forward.
only going forward, but RIX have adapted now. Their team comp is great at shutting down these engages. It's great at shutting down these dives. If they get out of the early game, if Doom and Clue survive lane, which they should, they're against Akaki, they're gonna be great in the mid game.
One other thing that I want to reiterate for both of these teams, this is elimination match. Point on the line. For both of these teams, the second seeds of the respective regions, RIX for Europe, Vivo Kid for Brazil, their region's pride on the line. They want to join their fellow seeds in Game Lord and Liberty respectively for a chance to make it out of the play-in stage to advance to the group stage. Let's kick it off for Game 3 between these two.
It's do or die here for both RIX and Vivo Key. The drafts look amazing. I'm hyped for this one. One little note here. The Camille and the Wukong have swapped places. It's gonna be the Wukong Baron lane into the Renekton. I think that one is a slightly better matchup. And Camille jungle against Kha'Zix. I'm a bit concerned about that one, Rafa. If you don't get the plays going, if you don't get a snowball rolling, he's gonna outfarm you.
This Camille is a jungle pick that used to be at the top of the jungle
#1
food kingdom.
The queen.
Yeah, used to be the queen. But then Riot was like, no. We can't have her reign supreme in both Baron lane and the jungle. We gotta pick. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, look how slow she's clearing. This is the sad reality of Camille right now. You're very reliant on snowballing. You're very reliant on getting gold, getting items. You want Triforce, you want Divine Sundra, whichever it may be. You want items, you need money. You can't get that through farming. You farm so slow, so what's it gonna be? You have to get ganks.
The thing that's admirable for players that still play Camille jungle to this day, you know it's because that it was a pick that they put so much time into. It's something that they have made a lot of their career most defining plays on. I imagine for Seven, he probably grew up grinding the solo queue ladder and playing a ton of Camille when the game first was released in the EMEA region there. I know we have a couple of NA junglers, Tybe over for Sentinels currently, who was a Camille Wukong.
He's going to be playing the next game.
And in the next series, oh, don't remind me. I'm trying to get through this series first before we get through another heart pounder between Sentinels and Guangdong Freaks later, which means, guys, if you're watching at home and you're waiting for this series to end, you got to hold on, because between both of these, we have two dynamite matches still waiting to play out.
Dynamite indeed. I want to touch on that Camille a little bit more. I love it when it's picked. Also for another reason, you're issuing a challenge when you pick Camille jungle. You're saying, I'm going to snowball the game, I'm going to carry the game, I'm going to make the plays. Can you withstand that? And so far, it's been a very slow start. It's just the first clears, but you already see how much faster Kha'Zix is farming. One buff ahead of the Camille.
On a champion that's been nerfed specifically for the jungle as well. And you've lost out on the attack speed that you used to have whenever you hookshot towards giant jungle monsters. If you can still get through the jungle without being snowballed on, being invaded, or really being neutralized, then you're doing your job. And Kha'Zix is one of those jungle matchups that you can't specifically play this Camille into, because unless the Kha'Zix is being super hyper aggressive in the early game, he wants to farm just as much as you do on the Camille.
But once you stumble upon the Kha'Zix in the river, he's always going to win that 1v1, and he's also going to farm faster than you. Full clear completed for the Kha'Zix, full clear completed for Lot, and that's one camp behind for Seven. I know I'm being a jungle clear nerd right now, but that's just the reality of the Camille matchup.
I got you.
You're a jungler.
Yeah.
You're pretty cracked. I've seen your Lisa.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. The games earlier were not as polished, you know, but you know, it was a ping gap.
It was. It truly was.
The Wi-Fi was not going our way.
Look, Rafa, I can tell you that if you were playing jungle for RIX right now, instead of Seven, Vivo Key would also ban your Lisa. 100%.
Thank you. Yeah. Wow, that's high praise. Going into this game, 3 minutes ahead, it has been a quiet start, and I think the lack of proactivity from both teams also spells out how I don't want to say desperate necessarily, but
the stakes
how much
are high.
Exactly. Pressure is on for both of these teams.
Pressure is on indeed, and this is how champions are made. I know we're not fighting for the championship just yet, but how you deal with pressure, how you perform under pressure when the stakes are as high as they're gonna be, is how you tell the true caliber of the team, the true caliber of the players. What's the saying? I'm gonna make a quote again, and Degon's gonna make fun of me again, but it's something like the brightest diamonds are forged in the highest pressures? Something like that?
Yeah. Diamonds are forged under pressure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, let's see who the diamond's gonna be this game.
Vivo Keed and RIX still taking it slow. We've reached 4 minutes into the game, which means turret resistances have fallen at this point.
Yeah.
So if either team wanted to make a play now, what's up?
Hullbreaker Dragon Lane cocky. Why? But why?
I guess Slash is on split push duty this game. He's Mena. I mean, look where Mena is. He's like, all right,
Okay.
Slash.
They saw him go into bush, didn't they? I feel like Random knows about this.
He's got to know, right? And you have
he's got
7.
backup, he's
Yeah,
baiting.
look. 7 is baiting for
Oh,
it.
he's baiting.
Vivo Keed thinks
He's
they
not
have the jump
baiting.
on him, but it is 7 that is here to make sure that Random is A-okay, not burning anything.
Yeah, but he's gonna have to get the reset off. Clue 7, they are here as well. That does mean that resets are gonna be pretty late, but for both of these teams, so not too bad for either side right now. I feel like Snitch with the Hullbreaker is gonna have a good time against Katrina in the side lanes. And that means it's gonna be a 4v4. But
what if
Honky is a Hullbreaker.
Yeah, but what if it's not Katrina in the side lane? Oh, okay. Right now it is Katrina that's
Yeah.
matching up, but maybe you send Slash eventually into the side lanes. He's got to be here for this Rift Herald because he's got package, but it is the engagement from 7. Random following up with a Cyclone, a flash forward from Odysseus trying to turn around the tides of battle, and it looks like Lord is able to get out safely. The package for the second win. Slash is in there, but Odysseus is the one that's on the run because RIX overwhelmed them with damage, and first blood goes to RIX.
Lot gets caught and Odysseus pays the price. That's gonna be the Rift Herald going over to the side of RIX, and this time around, Vivo Key cannot trade objectives. Vivo Key cannot go for the dragon because Lord is stuck here. He has to defend the top lane turret, and now that is RIX pulling ahead here.
And they still have the numbers advantage on this Rift
are they
Herald, so they
doing?
can't even poise over it. 7. I mean, he had Smite. He was taking his time with it. Vivo Keith were looking to see if they could actually push them off of it. But I imagine that there is potentially an opportunity for Vivo Keith to go claim mid-priority, but RIX had them in their back pockets, had controlled them, willing them over to the Rift Herald, and Vivo Keith get nothing out of it. RIX so far, 1 up.
1 up here for RIX. They're going to be happy with that one. The gold lead is still slightly in favor of Vivo Keat, and that comes down to Lot having a farm lead right now. But the Rift Herald is available. 7 has that. If he makes a play with the Hextech Ultimatum, if he backs up Random in the side lane, if he backs up Snitch in the side lane, they get a kill. The Rift Herald could pay off huge dividends here, Rafa.
Huge note here for Vivo Keed. They don't have the package anymore. They used it in the first fight, and it went the way of RIX. That does mean that RIX are going to be slightly more comfortable looking for this dragon.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get it. Look at where Mena is. He's trying to find a play together with Odysseus here onto Random. But then you look at the map, where's Lot? You only have 2 members here. You're trying to force a play? It just seems like Vivo Keed are trying to... I have no idea what they're trying to do.
Almost just gonna be quite brutal and honest here. It's like trying to understand the madness and the chaos behind Vivo Keed methods here.
Okay,
They're,
Lot's here.
They're setting up a slow push wave at the moment. You already have rotations coming in though from
work,
Doom and
He's full HP, his Barrier and Cyclone. It's just way too late. Oh man, yeah, well.
Okay, maybe they found RIX though, and Mena's gonna all in for the knockup. Not quite using the quickness though. Still, as you said, full HP. I might be getting a little excited thinking that action is gonna happen and almost just shaking the head going.
Well, to be fair, Random has been using his clone very, very well here. Tornado is
okay, quickness. The clone isn't available quite yet. Cyclone deters the fight here, and it looks like it is a reinforcements coming in from Doom and Clue. Was that a teleport that I saw from Doom that came in?
Hullbreaker!
But it still doesn't matter. Slash doing a ton of damage with Hullbreaker. You gotta love the item on the Corky build. But 7, tactical sweep into Flash, catching Slash by his butt. And he's got him locked down for the tactical sweep down. Oh my goodness, RIX. They are not letting this game go.
7 still has a Herald. He could commit this if he wants to.
Oh,
that's huge!
That's the cage coming in! This is Vivo Keed falling into Doom's trap this time around. This turret is on fire. They want to go for it, but there's no minion wave left.
Man, what a series of events there. Vivo Keed posturing for the dive for close to 2 minutes. And at the end of the day, RIX answer. They have more than enough time to answer, right? You had the TP, you had the tidal wave, and now RIX are going for their own play here. They want the mid lane turret.
Katrina trying to evaporate the wave as fast as he can with the poison. The Rift Herald charge.
All right,
Just
just
some
2
decent
blinks.
damage.
Yeah. just some plates, just
Not bad.
some gold, not too bad. RIX, they have a 2,000, well, just a 1,000. Wait, my math is really bad. 2,000 gold lead here.
You got it. You got it.
I got it. I figured it out at the end of the day. And the important thing right now is that 7 has finally evened up Go with Lard.
It's okay. We're casters. We're not expected to do math live. That's out of our job requirements.
I'm used to casting with Grandin, and he's a nerd, so I just ask him, Grandin, do this math for me real quick. How much gold lead does this team have right now?
You're just gonna call him out like that?
Yeah, well, most
Come on, we
casters are
like
nerds.
nerds here. We're gamers.
Exactly, right? So it's not an insult.
Hell yeah.
It's an endearing term.
Hell yeah. We love Grandin here on the
Well,
Icons
that
roster.
one, we'll talk about later.
Damn!
We'll talk about that one later, Rafa.
Is this why Grandin always just is upset when he has to cast with you?
He's lucky, okay? He doesn't know how lucky he is.
He looks at the casting assignment and he's like, God, man, I have to cast with this guy again? Please, someone save me. Please, TJ.
Anybody, really.
Anyone.
It's like those scenes in the movies where they look down the list of whether they qualify for the university of their choice or something along those lines. He sees his pad with Omo, and his day is ruined.
Oh, man.
BK's day is going to be ruined right now as well. RIX get a second Herald here.
And they can't
No
answer.
contention. Yeah, no answer, no contest even. Dragon's not up.
And
What can Vivo keep do?
Yeah, I mean, they're only down 2,000 gold, but the way that they're playing, it seems like they're down even more.
Yeah, they're definitely playing very safe here. Katrina in a 1v2.
Double
He's
demolish
holding on.
procs looking from both Snitch and 7. Second window from Slash. Once again, the reinforcements, good stasis, cancels out. The Hextech ultimatum, 7 gets flipped back up, and this could be Vivo Keed's answer. 7 getting a little too comfortable under the tower there, outplayed by Vivo Keed.
You know, we're extremely excited for this game. VK are excited for this game. RIX are excited for this game. But I think we found a couple of fans who are a little bit more excited. Kwangdong Freaks are like one room away from us, and every time some damage gets dealt, we hear them going, whoa, whoa, whoa.
They're just in awe of the aggressive playmaking back and
Yeah.
forth from Vivo Keed and Rick's like, man, no one plays this aggressively in Korea. We just kind of scale off to the late game. But Vivo Keed, they're still going at it once
Wow.
again. And the fact that no one goes down in this
Yeah.
exchange.
Look, you look at the kill score right now. There's 5 kills on the bot in an 11-minute game.
That doesn't paint the whole picture at all.
Exactly. This game has been a bloodbath here. Snitch with the Howlbreaker, with the Cannon Minion, takes down the mid lane turret. Inferno Dragon is halfway to up. RIX, they are in control of this game yet again.
But this time they're not as far ahead as they were in the early stages of the game. Vivo Keed have managed to claw their way back to be within striking distance. Only 1,000 gold behind, and when you're considering Vivo Keed's win condition once again, it is to go for these team fights. It is to find ways to flank, to take out Doom before he can set up battle lines with the rest of his team.
And they definitely have the conditions for it as well. They dive in.
Odysseus.
It's a bit early.
Wow, that's a beefy crocodile, bro.
Yeah, it's a beefy crocodile, and Snitch wasn't in position as well. That's 1-2 down for the dragon fight.
Redemption spots out
Oh,
the dragon being started, but
cage.
beautiful to her event horizon from Doom. It's gonna
Random,
slow the roll.
random.
Is here to deter them once again. The jump in from Lord, but he cannot secure the dragon. It is that goes to 7 this time around. The rest of RIX holding back the forces of Vivo Keed. They prevent them from getting anything done. No one goes down from RIX. 3 members fall from Vivo Keed.
The battle lines hold for RIX. They maintain the front to back. The flank from Mayna does nothing. The flank from Katrina does nothing. And RIX hold firm. They take the dragon, they pop down the Rift Herald, and this is a repeat of game 1 here, Rafa. RIX in full control.
RIX back in the zone, and you can't let them in that zone if you are Vivo Keed. Watch the replay again.
How annoying is that Vega cage to start things off, and Random gets such a fantastic disengage here. Mayna comes around the back, but it's too little too late, isn't it? His team is already scattered to the wind here. Mayna, such a great attempt, but too little too late.
Mayna trying to pull off what he did back in the Wild Tour in the series against Liberty. But just like Omega Esports, who figured out what Mayna was trying to do, RIX, I don't even know if they knew that Mayna was lying in wait, but they didn't care. Exactly. And a great thing that RIX did was spacing out their uses of tools. However, Random, that's 4 people, that's a package on Slash, and this Monkey King is going to go bye-bye. Monkey jumped 1 too many times off the bed in the bear land, and he goes down.
So many knockups right there, and it took 4 members of Vivo Kid so long to kill him. That likely does mean that Snitch will get this tier 2 turret in the bot lane. Oh no, never mind. He's good.
Almost there. Almost.
Yeah, they're just chilling. 4,000 gold lead right now. They lose random, but nothing's gonna result from that, right? It's purely just a kill.
You said we're chilling, right?
We're chilling.
Ice cream chillin', ice cream chillin', ice cream chillin'. JK. Vivo Kid still looking to find ways to get back into this game, but they have realized that the tools that are at RIX's dispense between the Cyclone and the Event Horizon makes those entry points super difficult to get through.
They are definitely not ice cream chilling right now. I can tell you that much. They're having a really rough one. The ice cream's all melted.
Oh no, it's one of those hot,
Yeah,
It's not a nice sunny day, it's a super humid day.
Oh, that's Singapore.
Yeah.
That's sunny Singapore, all right.
Oh no, the Singapore coffee's no longer hitting.
And Vivo Kid are the ice cream that RIX are the Singapore sun. And they're starting to melt them away, starting with Odysseus.
Now, he's a big crocodile we've learned from before, and 7
Okay.
needs a little bit more power. It gets the flash out.
Baron Alpha, they're trying to sneak in.
And this
But
is
RIX
what you got. Oh, Doom has come in, and just as we were getting excited for a Hail Mary attempt for Vivo Kid, it is thwarted. And RIX, they have tempo, they have the inside track. They can push through the mid lane, and they can push through the bottom side of the map.
They want to go for Odysseus. He has no flash, but they're just going to decide against that one. I just figured it out. I was so impressed that Doom went to check the Baron. He had the presence of mind to know our jungler's in bot lane. Oh no.
And he's got the presence of mind to throw down the cage of Doom.
Mena, look at
Lord
Mena.
is gone. Mena is going for the flank once again, but he gets interrupted by the Cyclone. It was still in mid-cast. He doesn't get the knockup that he was looking for. Odysseus pressing forward, trying to be a meat shield for the rest of Vivo Kid so that they can follow up the damage, but it is still RIX that is pressing forward, and it's still RIX that is destroying Vivo Kid. They can't go any farther. They're going too deep into the base of Vivo Kid, but they have the jungle advantage, and their eyes are on the Baron now.
Lot buys TP, but he's 15 seconds away. Will he be up in time? I think no, Rafa.
7,000 HP. Vivo Kid, no smite available. Mena doesn't have enough burst damage. This isn't Helios's Recon. Oh, whoa. Okay, Dune is gone. 1,700 HP. He took 1 HP.
Oh my God!
That one could have been so bad for RIX. The smite comes in a little early, but it is secured by Blue.
This could be
but
it.
Vivo Kid, this is a teleport from Lord. He's coming for revenge. He's looking to pick off stragglers. And you gotta be leading the charge with Katrina, but a beautiful tide away from Clue. Clue, who saves the Baron, might have just saved the game for RIX. Vivo Kid were looking for the opportunity to strike back, but it's still RIX that are holding strong. They have slaughtered Brazil.
RIX hold firm. Doom drops at the start of the fight, and you think for a second maybe Vivo Kid have a chance. RIX mess up the smite as well. 7 didn't get it in time. You saw the HP bar. 8 HP, 1 HP on the Baron, but they don't manage to steal that away. Now TP's come in. They want the end.
The final teleports of the sails. One man against the world, and that world happens to be EU, crashing Brazil's world down. The number 2 seed from RIX holds on to their dreams and staying alive in the Icons play-in stage.
What can I say, Rafa? Today is the day of EU Game Lord, and now RIX make it one step further. They stay alive in Icons. Their dreams, their hopes, still hold firm.
Team Queso watching from afar in the group stage.
Nodding proudly.
Thanks, Dad.
Disheartened faces here on the side of Vivo Kid. Who can really blame them? Such a valiant effort, especially in that game 2 with the dive comp, showing what we love of the Brazilian region, what we love of the Wild Tour teams. But it wasn't enough against RIX, Rafa.
A quick stumble here or two in game 2, but RIX not even faltered. Not even faltered by the fact that Snitch could not join them on the stage today, playing from at home in the hotel. But RIX still doing their damnedest. And you know what, for this selfie, I hope that what we can do is we can
Photoshop
get Snitch in there. Yeah, Photoshop Snitch in there.
You have to.
Snitch just as a valuable member as the rest of RIX, and they know it. They are happy, they are content with their performance. They're just so damn proud that they have made it this far, but now their ultimate opponents are against T1, the rematch that sent them here in the first place.
And that was a, frankly, winnable matchup for RIX, Rafa. If you think about how that match played out,
Yeah.
RIX were in control of the game for a lot of it. They were playing without Snitch, they were playing without their mid laner, he was back in the hotel. He couldn't be here with the team. Hopefully for the rematch, he finds a way to come back. We'll see if that one plays out. If not, I still have hopes that RIX makes it a competitive series, with the stakes being making it to the Icons group stages.
And the words that Rick shared with me throughout earlier in the week when I caught them outside of the tournament on one of the off days. They said, yeah, you know, we were definitely confident. We had that game in the bag. We just got a little complacent. We lost control. We got too excited in the late game, and yeah, that is when it can cost us. But RIX here, they kept control. They held firm, and now they have one more chance to play against T1. But of course, we've got a lovely three-man desk here who's going to break down the final series of this game.
Two dudes. Riku as well. Boom.
Oh,
up
my
here.
bad, my bad.
Kapow. There it is. Thank you, Rafa. All right. Give it on back as RIX are able to get the victory here and will continue in Icons 2022. As we see the updated bracket, that also means we say goodbye to the Brazilian outfit, Vivo Kid.
Rough day for Latam.
Yeah.
Not quite the results that they wanted here. And again, it just didn't feel like this was their day. RIX, though, they got a big fan in TJ.
Yeah, well, you know, I've always been a British citizen. I flew here with a British passport in my bag, and I've always believed in European teams. What I've always said is that European teams are some of the best teams coming into this event. And I think I've been a really good representative of EU here on this stage, kind of as a voice for them when they don't have any others.
While we're looking at this highlight, are we able to get the lower thirds of the predictions up? Just
No,
not
you know,
sure.
you know, the audience already saw
I think it would be good if
They
we
need
took a
to
look at
remind
that.
but they already saw. I mean, if you want
Able to
to,
take a
but
look
I
at
think they've already seen it, so I don't really, because it just feels redundant. It feels like we already did that one.
Riku, RIX take the win here. Who's the standout for you?
Oh yeah, it's definitely Random and Snitch. You know, I gotta give it to both of these players because I love the fact that they can switch dynamics. You know, on game number 1, you've got Random on the Jace is able to carry, and meanwhile Snitch is on the Singe. So basically now Random in this game number 3 held on to his top lane, trying his best to prevent any sort of engages from Mena, especially when Mena goes in, Cyclone. You're gonna basically bump into this monkey, and every single time that engage was so needed by VK to win these team fights.
I think one person that's going unsung right now, Clue.
Yeah.
Gets
Oh,
the Baron.
yeah.
I don't think I've seen a Baron go from 8 HP to 1 HP.
I think it was 2 consecutive auto attacks from the Nami.
That is
It's
wild.
the only thing that makes sense is because it, like you were talking about, it was at 8 HP, something dropped it from 8 to 1 HP, and I've been racking my brain to figure out what could possibly be doing 7 damage that late in the game. I think Clue ordered it twice and got the Baron. He also spent the entire game hitting some really sick Nami bubbles. Nami is one of those characters where if you're landing bubbles, looks like the best character in the world,
Yep.
overpowered, really long stun.
Yep.
If you're not landing every single bubble, people jump on your face and kill you. Clue was landing every single bubble.
Yeah, absolutely. The combo, I think the switching of combos as well, because they got a Veigar in their team. So you get a bubble stun, and then you get the event horizon down. You get the cage down, basically, and then vice versa. It just works so well on getting picks and initiating fights.
Yeah, Clue and Doom taking care of business and then allowing the star players to make those star plays in Random and Snitch.
Yeah, I think Snitch had a really good series here online yet again. I think Random had an incredible series on stage, and the big takeaway should be that adjustment from Game 2, where RIX weren't able to find their team fights, where RIX looked kind of scattered, were making silly mistakes in the sidelines, to this game, where they were behind early, were threatened early, collected themselves, won a series of very good team fights, and looked coordinated in them. That's the switch you need to be able to press to win Game 3s to stay alive in this tournament.
And for me, it felt like that was because when we look back at RIX's performance from the T1 series, it felt like if they don't win early, that's it. They're done. But they've shown that even though the early game didn't work out too well, they're still able to fight back. And that's a really good sign coming into, their journey continuing here at Icons.
Yeah, we saw in the gold chart there how tense this match was. Almost at the beginning, you felt it for the first time that both teams were tight and tense and like, we don't want to take a game-defining fight. We'll take a skirmish, but not a game-defining fight. And even though RIX took the lead after the first several fights, VK still fought their way on back, took a chunk out of that gold lead, but just ended up falling just a little bit short there.
Yeah. I think it's yet another win for the Enchanter meta, right? We've been talking about Sony, we were talking about Yumi, we were talking about Karma. We haven't really been talking about Nami yet. Nami! Added to that list here, being able to be yet another character that can sit at the back of the fights and provide healing, but also critically, using that tidal wave as an engage tool. This is something we've seen a fair bit in Southeast Asia. North America runs it occasionally as well. You get a bruiser comp that can go in, that can engage hard, and you use the tidal wave as a kind of path clearer, as a way to start those fights. Clue did a great job there. The team did a great job following up.
Look at that. Perfect segue, TJ. Standing by with Kangas is that man. It's Clue from RIX.
Thanks, Digon. I'm here with Clue from RIX GG after a really close series against Vivo Keed, but congratulations on the win right there. Righting the ship after a tough series loss to T1, but you still keep yourselves alive here at Icons. So I got to start off. First question. After game number 2, when it was a tied series, I love to hear what was it like communicating with the team? What was the coach saying? What were other players saying to get everybody in the right mental to go into that game 3?
So after the lose, we were just like, it's fine because we know that we just lost early game. At Formir, it was a bit hard. So we just go next after that. Know that the whole team has kind of good mental.
Okay.
So it just went all right.
Yeah, make sure that you get through that early game. Don't let that get out of control, right?
We just keep the game and
we
try to fix the mistake and not to do what we did on second game, so we can just move on and we just take off the mistake and we move on.
Yeah, you got to move on. Just got to make sure that you're ready for the next one. Well, RIX have a reputation for being very strong in the regular season, but sometimes when it comes playoff time in the big matches, that's where the team doesn't perform to the same expectations. And I'm curious, what lessons have you learned from your playoff runs to prepare you for your match tomorrow against T1?
We should never underestimate enemy. I think that's what happens in Barcelona. We're like, we went Team Queso 2 days before, so don't really have to worry about it and it should be fine, but it didn't go well, kind of.
So make sure you're giving respect to T1, right?
Yeah, it should not happen again.
I'm sure the fans will be hoping for that for sure. I'm curious because you did just knock out a Brazilian team, Vivo Keed from Icons. They have a big fan base. It's awesome to see the fans showing up. It was a close series, so I'm curious what your thoughts were about Vivo Keed and any message you have for their fans that were hoping for a win. What do you think about Brazil as a region?
I think that they played good, but we worked really hard on them, right? We did some review and things like that. So we can know how they play, how they want to draft. And it's not about them being bad, I guess. It's us being good and also working hard for it.
Yeah, I mean, you had to put in the work. They pushed you to that third game. And now you're preparing for a must-win match against T1, a rematch after your first round here at Icons. So for the EU fans at home, for everybody watching anxiously to see how RIX does tomorrow, what will be different this time against T1?
We just won't throw in the game anymore. We worked on it. Scrims after this lose went well. So we stopped grazing some plays. We give some more vision. We really worked on it after this lose. And I hope it will go well. And I trust my team about it.
Those are all good things. Don't let the game out of control. Make sure you're holding that vision, holding that control in the early game.
The game is the most important things. Working that good in early game, I guess. And if we manage to do same thing as we did in early game as Thursday, it should be fine.
All right, well, you heard it from Clue. Everybody in EU, there's hope. Make sure you're cheering them on as they go into their match tomorrow. Thank you so much, Clue. Digon, back to you.
Thank you very much, Kangas, and I love that energy there from Clue. You could see how excited he was and how much it meant to him. And he said it earlier, you just got to be able to reset when things go wrong.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's all about, very excited for their rematch, especially against T1. I'm sure they've learned a lot from the experiences so far, and this one match away from heading into group stages.
All right, well, those are 3 matches down. There's one big one to go. It's Korea versus NA. Guangdong Freaks take on Sentinels right after this break. Don't go anywhere. Oh, boy.